Ancient strategy, modern sales, one usable line per episode.
Last time, we talked about pressure, how chasing deals creates friction instead of momentum. Today, why the smartest thing you say in a meeting might be the reason you lose the deal. I had a pitch last month. Perfect deck, clean data, ROI projections that made the case obvious. Every objection, handled. Every number, backed up.
And
they went with someone else. Not a better product, not a lower price. My contact said, "Your presentation was strong." But the room didn't feel comfortable. By the end of this episode, you'll know why that happens, and what to do instead. Here's the thing, I've been trained to build airtight arguments. Features, benefits, ROI. Stack the evidence, overwhelm the objections.
And how often does that work?
Maybe half the time. The other half, they nod along and then ghost me.
Because you're solving the wrong problem. You think they're evaluating your argument. They're not.
What are they evaluating?
Whether it's safe to say yes. Logic answers, is this a good deal? Safety answers, will I regret this? And regret is louder than ROI. Think about what happens when someone presents a flawless argument. It leaves no room for questions. No room for the other person to feel like they had a choice.
And that feels threatening.
A perfect argument says, I've already decided for you. Most people hear that as pressure, not help.
So the stronger my case, the more resistance I create.
When safety is missing, yes. A strong case without safety is a lecture. A strong case with safety is a conversation. Hold this thought, we'll build on it.
That's uncomfortable. I spent years learning to build better arguments.
Those arguments aren't wrong, they're just incomplete. Logic without safety is like fuel without a road. The decision stalls, not because of what you said, because of how they felt while you said it. Sun Tzu addressed this in the first chapter, Laying Plans. He wrote, all warfare is based on deception. When capable, appear incapable. When active, appear inactive.
Appear incapable, why would you hide strength?
Because visible strength triggers defense. If the enemy sees your full force, they brace. They resist, but if they feel no threat, they stay open.
So the principle isn't about lying. It's about managing what the other side feels.
Exactly. In sales, your full force is your perfect argument. When a prospect sees it coming, all the data, all the proof, they think, this person is trying to close me. And the wall goes up.
So why does logic fail when safety is low?
3 reasons. Each one is invisible until you name it. First, logic threatens identity. When you show someone their current approach is wrong, you're telling them, you made a bad decision. No one wants to hear that in front of their team.
What's the second?
Logic removes control. A perfect argument says, there's only one right answer, mine. Cornered people don't sign contracts. They stall or bring in another vendor to slow things down.
And the third?
Logic ignores emotion. People decide emotionally first, then justify with logic. If the emotional response is, I feel pressured, no amount of data overrides that. The spreadsheet says yes, the gut says run.
So the pattern is, I build a strong case, but I skip the part where they feel safe enough to receive it.
That's the gap. Most salespeople spend 80% of their prep on what to say. Almost none on how the room will feel while they hear it.
So what changes?
You stop leading with proof. You start leading with permission. Lower the emotional cost of agreeing first. The argument stays the same. The sequence changes. Here's the reframe. You don't need a weaker argument. You need a safer room. Safety isn't softness, it's strategy. When people feel safe, they listen longer and decide faster.
So safety actually accelerates the deal.
Always. Think about the last time someone convinced you of something. They probably didn't overwhelm you with evidence. They made you feel heard first. Then the evidence landed.
The best conversations I've had with prospects were the ones where I talked less.
Because you left room, and room is what safety feels like.
But what if my product really is the best option? Don't I owe it to them to show the data?
You owe them the data in a form they can receive. Throwing facts at someone who feels unsafe is like shouting directions at someone who's lost. Help them know where they are first. Then show them where they could go. Now, the one line for this episode.
Let's hear it.
Logic loses when safety is low.
That's the principle.
When your instinct says lead with the strongest argument, pause. Ask yourself, does this room feel safe enough to hear it? If not, your first job isn't presenting. It's lowering the temperature.
So the line isn't about abandoning logic. It's about sequencing.
Safety first, logic second. The order matters more than the content. 2 more versions you can use. When you sense the room tightening, arms crossing, one-word answers. Try this. I want to make sure I'm being helpful, not just thorough. What matters most to you right now?
That shifts from presenting to listening.
It tells them, I'm here for your agenda, not mine. The wall drops.
And the other one?
Before you present anything, open with this. There's no pressure to decide anything today. I'd rather you leave with clarity than with a contract.
Most salespeople would never say that.
Which is exactly why it works. Safety is the rarest thing in a sales conversation.
3 tools. One that names the principle, logic loses when safety is low. One that reads the room, what matters most to you right now. And one that opens with safety, no pressure to decide today.
All solving the same problem, making the room safe enough for your argument to land. Let's lock them in.
Here's my takeaway. Smart arguments fail not because they're wrong, but because they arrive before the room is ready. The fix isn't weaker arguments, it's safer conditions.
Keep going.
Sun Tzu said all warfare is based on deception. Manage what the other side perceives. Don't lead with full force. Lead with openness. Let them feel safe. Then present your case. Safety first, logic second. The sequence matters more than the content.
Drill zone. Come back here before your next pitch. You're about to walk into a meeting. Perfect deck. 12 slides of proof. Your instinct says show them everything. What do you tell yourself?
Logic loses when safety is low.
Again, like you've already decided to lead differently.
Logic loses when safety is low.
Good. Now the room check.
I want to make sure I'm being helpful, not just thorough. What matters most to you right now?
And the opener.
There's no pressure to decide anything today. I'd rather you leave with clarity than with a contract.
The sequence. First, internal reset. Logic loses when safety is low. Second, read the room. What matters most to you right now? Third, open with permission. No pressure to decide today. Then present your case.
Reset, read, open, then present.
This week's test. One meeting where you'd normally lead with data. Instead, start with a question. Ask what matters most to them. See how the conversation changes.
Just the question?
Just the question. The room will tell you when it's ready for your logic.
Which tool should I try first?
Whichever fits the room. A. Logic loses when safety is low. B. What matters most to you right now? Or C. No pressure to decide today. Drop your pick in the comments. I read every one.
What's next?
The hidden cost of trying to convince, and why the harder you work to persuade, the more trust you spend. Same calm tone, one usable line.
Ancient strategy, modern sales, one usable line per episode.